If Christianity was 100% true, would you believe it? That is my question for today. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's a pretty deep one today, but it's an interesting one. That's the first question I want to truly ask you. What evidence would be enough to prove that Christianity was 100% true? And even if you had that evidence, would you believe or would you not believe? Because here's my point. Even if it was proven 100% true, all the evidence you could get, would you believe it? Because if you say no to that question, you probably have a misunderstanding of what Christianity is or who Jesus is or what he did for you. And therefore, you don't have a faith issue, more so you have a misunderstanding about what Jesus has truly done for you. Because once we can really understand what he's done for us, there's no way you could turn that down. It's beautiful. That's what I'm going to get into today. I have a few scriptures that we're going to look at from the Bible and a few thoughts that can get us thinking about these kind of things. I think conversation and respectful conversation and us debating and talking about these things is really important. So give it a few minutes, listen to what I have to say, and leave your thoughts in the comments. All of them are really appreciated. So let's get into it. So first, we live our life with faith every day, right? I have faith when I've sat down in this chair that's going to hold me up. There's not necessarily proof that it's going to hold me up, but how do I know that? From the things around me, from my experiences, from the laws and the things in the world that I know. And that can be a similar thing with faith and trying to figure out why we're here, where we've come from, and what should we believe. So when it comes to our faith, if we look around us, that right there should get us thinking straight away that we have a conscience from the day we're born. We start, well, not from the day we were born, but by the time our brains develop and we start to think and we really have a conscience, we can look around and see the world, see creation, see love in the world, see good and see evil in the world. And this should start to get us thinking about these ideas of, why are we here? Obviously, the world is a beautiful creation. And for something to be created, there needs to be a creator, right? So we know, just from being alive and existing and having free thoughts and free will, that there must be a creator. There's such complexity, even in one of our eyes. The amount of cells and things that have to line up for an eye to work is unfathomable to us. There's so much. It's like trying to explain to an ant how a plane flies in the air, right? And the ant is going to have no understanding or conception of that. But that's okay. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist because we can't understand it. It's just part of life. And that's part of our relationship with God and us as a human experience. We may not understand all the things that God has or has made or why things are a certain way, but we have this understanding of good and evil. And without a creator or a judge or a law or a God, there isn't technically even right and wrong. If we're all a bunch of cells, who's to say what is right and who's to say what is wrong? If you say society determines that, well, there's been a lot of evil societies that have thought a lot of things are right. Like we can look back in things that have started wars have been caused by what society thinks are right and wrong. So we can't go off what a society thinks is right. We have to go off this knowledge of good and evil given us through not only the Bible and through the law that God has given, the law of Moses and things like that, also through Jesus and his mission, but also when Adam and Eve ate off the tree of knowledge of good and evil, that immediately gave all of humanity this knowledge and understanding of right and wrong, and what's good and what's evil. So we have that to go off. All humans will have that conscious and that understanding of that. So let's start looking into some of the evidence of why Christianity, why Jesus. So number one, if Jesus was real and true, there's so many documents and scriptures and evidence of manuscripts that go back, there's something like there's more evidence for Jesus than some of the big Roman emperors like Caesar and things like that. There's even more evidence for Jesus that he was a real person than that. And then how do we know that he's God? Because the one difference is he rose from the dead. If you rose from the dead, I'm sure I would listen very carefully to what you had to say. It's the same. If we truly know that Jesus was a man that lived, died, and rose again, we should be listening very carefully to what he has to say to us. So, it even says here in Corinthians, how can we know that? Corinthians tells us which is the verse, let me get it, 1 Corinthians 15, verse 6. Jesus, he appeared to more than 500 people, brothers and sisters, at the same time, most of whom were still living when Paul wrote this, and some have passed on. He appeared to James and the apostles. So many people after he died, the Bible says he appeared to, and this is written through manuscripts and is a trusted source. So that's why it's in the Bible, and we believe this. You might think, oh, well, who are those 500 people? Anyone can say that. It says here 500 people. And if we can look a bit further into that, we know for sure 10 of those people, which were 10 of his disciples, he had 12 disciples, 10 of them were killed and died through horrible public deaths and murders, really, because they stood for what they believed so strongly. Out of the 12 disciples, 10 of them, the other two, Judas, sadly, took his own life because of the guilt of what he'd done, knowing that he'd lied and betrayed God. And then John, who was exiled to Patmos and there wrote Revelation in Patmos. The other 10 were all brutally murdered. You can look up the ways they were killed, all for their faith. Not one of them said, nah, guys, we made it up. Or, nah, actually, I'm not sure. Guys, I'm not sure. Maybe I was wrong. Not one of them said that. They all, till their deathbed, stood on it with 100% belief and certainty. We can know that is something pretty strong, pretty crazy that they must have experienced and they must have known for them to do that. Unbelievable. There is a little bit of evidence. We can move on further back in Romans. Let's have a look what it has to say. In Romans chapter 1, verse 19 and 20, it tells us about how, let's have a little read here. God has made it plain for us, for since the creation of the world, shows God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature has clearly been seen and being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse. This point in Romans is saying, look around us. The proof is around us of that there is a God. Look at nature. Look at the beautiful power of eternal divine nature that's around us. This is another proof that there's some kind of God, that we have to have a faith in something. We have to think about these things. We don't want to go through life not thinking and then miss out. There's something more to this life. And I've highlighted one more here in Job. In Job chapter 12, verse 7, it uses an example, again, a similar thing. It says for us to ask the animals, they will teach you, or the birds of the sky, they will tell you. Speak to the earth, it will teach you. The fish of the sea will inform you. This is basically saying, look at the creation around us. That can tell us there's something more, there's something real, there's a creator that has done all of this. So there are just a few verses I've had a look at that have helped me understand and show that God is shown in our everyday lives. And we know we live by faith, right? We know we live by faith. This is what I was saying at the start of the video. There's things that we just know that faith is a part of our everyday lives. If Jesus appeared to you, what evidence would it take? What evidence would it take to believe? Because you can see these things. It's like a wind. We believe in the wind. We can't see the wind, but you can feel it move. It's the same with God. We may not be able to see God now, but you shouldn't need to be able to see God to have faith or believe in him. Do you understand what I'm trying to say here? Like a wind, you feel its presence, you see it affect the environment. That is how we can see God move in our day-to-day life right now. There was hundreds of people that saw Jesus and knew Jesus and still didn't believe. So if you're thinking, for me to believe, I need to see God. I need him physically to show up in front of me and say it in my face. Well, what makes you think you're different to the people in the Bible that had that experience? There was people in the Bible, a lot of them were Pharisees, which is religious people, people of the law. But Jesus showed up to hundreds and thousands of people, and a lot of them still didn't believe. They would see a miracle and they would come up with an excuse. They would doubt it. They would say it's witchcraft. They would say he's blaspheming. We will make an excuse if we don't open our eyes, if we don't be vulnerable and give God a chance, if we don't think we have it all under control, and you just let go a little bit and reach out to God. If that's through a prayer, if that's through opening the Bible and trying to get an understanding, however that may be, God speaks to all of us differently, and he will reveal himself to all of us. And that's another thing it says in here. It says that everyone will see the light. In John, it says, everyone has seen the light. That means everyone has seen God. God is the light of the world. Jesus is the light of the world. Everyone in their lifetime has an opportunity to see evidence of Jesus, feel evidence of Jesus, like the wind, we feel the wind. Think, how in your life, from these examples I've shared, what are some things in your life? Maybe let me know in the comments. What are some doubts you may have? What are things that have shown you some proof of there's something greater, there's something you believe in? And is that proof of Jesus? Is that proof of the living God? A guy, like I say, this is one thing that it can be controversial, but I mean well when I say this. Muhammad is still in his grave. Buddha is still in his grave. Plato and these Greek philosophers, they're still in their grave. Darwin, he's in his grave. Jesus is not in his grave. He rose again. The evidence, I believe, is strong enough that points to that being true. And me now seeing that evidence, believing that is true, makes me really think I have to listen to what this guy said and invite him into my life. He brings love. He brings good news. He brings salvation. He brings you a gift of peace and eternal life. Give him a chance to let him in. And guys, I truly believe he will reveal himself to everyone and he will transform you. He transform your heart. It talks about that in the Bible. He will transform our hearts and give us peace when we invite him in. That is my message for today. Let me know what you think. Like I said, I'm not an expert. This is my thoughts on this. I hope it makes sense what I'm trying to get across here, guys. I'll be bringing another video to you guys very soon. A longer one today. Had a lot on this topic. It's so interesting. And that is just scraping the surface. We could talk about this for hours. And maybe I'll make a part 2 to this video from your guys' comments. So let me know. Thank you guys all. If you've made it to this point in the video, please like and leave a comment to let me know. And thank you guys so much. And I'll be back again soon. God bless.